A very good evening and welcome to Prime TV News, coming to you live and direct from the Prime TV studios. With me, Abrar Abid. Now, before we go into our stories in detail, let's take a look at our headlines. Police curfew to be imposed from 9 p.m. island-wide. Amit, Dan and Namal arrested. The Premier visits conflict-hit areas. China assures support to eliminate terrorism. 3 organizations linked with the terror attack banned. Trump warns Iran. In our lead story, police media spokesperson SP Ruan Gunasekara says island-wide police curfew will be imposed from 9 p.m. today. The curfew will be in effect until 4 a.m. tomorrow. Meanwhile, the police curfew in the northwestern province will commence from 6 p.m. today and it will last until 6 a.m. tomorrow. The police curfew will be imposed within the Gampaha Police Division from 7 p.m. today. The curfew will be lifted at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Meanwhile, Dan Piyadasa had also been arrested in connection with recent acts of violence in the country. Now, in more local news, a director of operations of the anti-corruption force, Namal Kumara, has been arrested by the Criminal Investigations Department. Namal Kumara was taken into police custody when he was present at the Kurunagala police station today. Namal Kumara released an array of voice clips pertaining to a plot on assassinating VIPs. Accordingly, a special investigation was launched by the authorities. A case has been filed against Namal Kumara for joining the Air Force, producing fake documents and deserting the Air Force during the training period. Namal Kumara was arrested while he had been released on bail by the court. Meanwhile, leader of the Mahasohon Balakaya, Amit Veerasinghe, was also apprehended by the Special Police Investigation Unit. The security forces have identified the groups who are behind the escalation of tension situation in the country. The security authorities say law will be implemented against them thoroughly. In more local news, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says a group of people are trying to disarray the Vesak festival and no room should be allowed to fulfill their intention. The Prime Minister made the comments when he engaged in an inspection tour at the Kuliapitiya area. The Premier visited the Kottampitiya mosque that was vandalized by a mob. Mahasangha of the area were also present at the place. Afterwards, the Prime Minister inspected shops that have been damaged by the mobs at the Karanthipala area in Kuliapitiya. The Premier visited the office of the Superintendent of Police of the Kuliapitiya and discussed about future steps to be taken to ensure peace in the area. Speaking to reporters, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the Tri-Forces and the police were given powers and responsibilities to maintain law and order in the country to ensure peace. The Premier said that no space will be given to sabotage the Vesak festival while intimidating innocent people. The Prime Minister urged the general public to extend their fullest support to the Tri-Forces and the police to carry out their duties. Now, the Presidential Secretariat has issued an extraordinary Gazette notification to ban the National Tawheed Jamaat and Jamaati Milatu Ibrahim and the Vilayat al-Siyami organization of Sri Lanka. The Gazette had been issued midnight yesterday. The Gazette notification was issued under the Public Security Ordinance and Emergency Law Regulations. The President took measures to ban the 3 organizations and the Gazette was issued accordingly. A portrait of President Maithripala Sirisena and his family members, drawn by prominent Chinese artist Tang Jianwen, was presented to the President recently. He made this presentation when a team of Sri Lanka-China co-production film titled You Are Always With Me called on the President. The chairman of the Sri Lanka Foundation, Sarat Kongahage, and director of the film, Devinda Kongahage, and others were present on this occasion. According to the project held internationally to donate corneas. Sri Lanka is renowned in the world as a country prominent for the generosity in donating corneas. President of China Xi Jinping has established the Silk Road, which is considered an international project, and simultaneously to that the teleseries was produced on the theme of eye cornea donations by Sri Lanka. This Sri Lanka and China with international and intercultural cooperation project has the blessings of President Maithripala Sirisena. With the production, writing and direction of the director Sway Yali and with the executive directorship and production of Sri Lankan director Devinder Kongahage, the first Sri Lankan international intercultural cooperative teleseries You Are Always With Me held its opening show of the series at the Tarangani Hall of the Film Corporation with the participation of special guests yesterday. The Executive Board of International Monetary Fund completed the 5th review of Sri Lanka's economic performance under the program supported by extended arrangement under the Extended Fund Facility. Completion of this review upon the granting of waivers of non-observance for the end of December 2018 performance criteria on the primary balance and net official international reserves makes available $164.1 million, bringing total disbursements under the arrangement to $1.155 billion. The Executive Board also approved an extension of the arrangement by 1 additional year until June 2020 with refacing of remaining disbursements. Sri Lanka's 3-year extended arrangement was approved on the 3rd of June 2016. In more local news, the International Development Association of the World Bank has given Sri Lanka a loan of $70 million to strengthen services by 134 local authorities in the northern, eastern, north central and Uva provinces. This development support project is designed to strengthen local authorities' capabilities to deliver services to communities in a responsive and accountable manner, the Finance Ministry's Department of External Resources said in a statement. The money will also support economic infrastructure development in participating provinces by strengthening local government planning systems, improving local services and economic infrastructure and institutional development, it said. The loan comes under the Local Development Support Project. Total estimated cost is about $100 million, of which IDA credit is $70 million, with the government giving $7 million and the balance financed by European Union as a grant. The United Nations in Sri Lanka is concerned about emerging incidents of communal violence and tension in the aftermath of the Easter Sunday terrorist attacks. The United Nations calls on the government and the security forces to ensure that the situation does not escalate. The United Nations welcomes the equivalent condemnation expressed on many occasions by political, religious and other community leaders towards the hate-mongering and violence carried out by a few. The UN says, as a country, Sri Lanka remains at a critical juncture where a unified rejection of hate is of paramount importance for sustaining peace. The responsibility also lies with each citizen to ensure that they do not spread misinformation that would lead to insecurity or cause violence. Hateful words will cause greater disunity and fuel existing tensions and fears. The United Nations in Sri Lanka also calls on the security establishment to ensure that interventions under the state of emergency are applied in a proportionate and non-discriminatory manner that will respect the rights of all communities and individuals while ensuring their security. The United Nations calls on the authorities to hold the perpetrators and inciters of violence to account. The UN stresses that now is the time to come together and rebuild trust among communities, and this requires inclusive and unified approach from politicians, the security forces and community leaders. It also highlights that we must all work together to ensure the safety and rights of every Sri Lankan, regardless of ethnicity or religion. Minister Thalata Atukorala says a group of people in the country trying to obtain political mileages through terrorism. Thalata Atukorala was speaking at a function held in Balanguda. The newly renovated Balanguda-Belihul Oya Road was vested with the public under the aegis of the minister. The project was completed under the Ranmavath Road Development Initiative. The government has borne 50 million rupees for the development project. It encompasses 3.4 kilometers of road. Chinese President Xi Jinping has promised to provide any sort of support to Sri Lanka to eliminate terrorism. During the meeting held between President Sirisena and the Chinese President Xi Jinping today, it was discussed in detail regarding the steps taken by the government to ensure the national security following the April 21st terrorist attack, as well as regarding the steps taken to protect all the people. The Chinese leader expressed his condolence over the victims of the terror attack. He stressed that the Chinese government is always ready to extend support to Sri Lanka in the course of nation building following the terror attacks. The two leaders also discussed extensively on the security arrangements. They agreed to expand exchange of intelligence information between the two countries. President Sirisena highlighted that Sri Lanka lacks enough technology to curb false information circulated over the internet and social media that helps to escalate terrorism and crimes. The Chinese president pledged to provide such technology to Sri Lanka expeditiously. He also promised to send a team of Chinese technical experts to Sri Lanka in this regard. Sri Lanka and China will enter into 3 significant agreements during the current official visit of President Maithripala Sirisena to China. These agreements are regarding the mega investments done by China in Sri Lanka and providing Chinese assistance for national security of Sri Lanka. Annually, China is among the prominent countries which generate the most number of tourists to Sri Lanka. As China has currently undertaken several mega investment projects in Sri Lanka, these agreements are vital for Sri Lanka's development. Meanwhile, the Chinese government has agreed to provide 100 jeeps to the Sri Lanka Police Department at a special request made by the President. In more local news, the central government of India extended the ban on the liberation tigers of Tamil Eelam for violent and disruptive activities which are prejudicial to the integrity and sovereignty of India. The Ministry of Home Affairs renewed its 2014 notification to declare LTTE as an unlawful association for another 5 years. In the notification, the ministry said that LTTE continues to adopt a strong anti-India posture as also continues to pose a grave threat to the security of Indian nationals. It is necessary to declare LTTE as an unlawful association with immediate effect. It also said the diaspora continue to spread through articles in the internet portals anti-India feeling amongst the Sri Lankan Tamils by holding the government of India responsible for the defeat of the LTTE, and such propaganda through internet, which remains continued, is likely to impact very important persons' security adversely in India. The ministry said that even after its military defeat in May 2009 in Sri Lanka, LTTE has not abandoned the concept of Eelam and has been clandestinely working towards the cause by undertaking fundraising and propaganda activities. Let's now take a look at the very latest in the business segment in the business arena. And that is a wrap-up of Prime TV News for today. Join us again tomorrow for the very latest. For the Prime TV News team, I've been Abrar Abid. A very good evening and take care.